Hey, welcome back to the Steel Wade Show. This is Jake Wade coming to you on a cold but very sunny day in the Superior State. We have just been drenched with rain out here, and now it's clear skies. I noticed, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the plant called hosta. I'm kind of a hosta collector, so now some of the horns are starting to come out for my hosta plants. I'm pretty excited about that. It's like my hobby. And I have a couple 100 of them, something like that, in this little baby property. My wife always says, so goodbye for 4 months, because I like to garden. It's not gardening, but thinking about doing a salsa garden though this year, or maybe cucumbers and do pickles, jar some pickles. I don't know. Sounds good. Would that be good? Like, well, I guess it takes longer than that. I was thinking about maybe if I grew the pickles in the summer. grew the pickles. If I grew those cucumbers, maybe I'd have pickles for the games next year. Who knows? Y'all have heard about Nintendo Thumb. I started thinking I was getting like a callus on my Twitter thumb from constantly checking to see if I was having any news about Bud coming back to the team. And I worked so hard yesterday on the different center prospects that and different ideas and way things might go with the Steel. I worked so hard yesterday on that. I ended up, I guess I just was giving the Cowless a rest or something, and I did not know about the new coach that was signed on by the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name is Glenn Thomas. I found out, this morning, it's all over, and the internet, this and that, and I watched a few different things and read some different articles, and they're not really a bunch of excitement about this guy. But what I want to do, I looked into it because maybe it's because we didn't get like a Leftwich or something. Now, he is basically called, his title is offensive assistant. I think maybe a lot of Steeler fans or the media might be more excited if he had a different title, like passing coordinator, passing game guru, something like that. And I was, after watching and reading these different things, I was like, why aren't you more excited? Why aren't, it's like what we've been asking for and talking about all summer. It's just not one of these big, the enemy, everybody thinks we've messed up in this and that we need to have help for Canada. And I agree, because I'm not necessarily on the bandwagon that says that Canada's is all he knows how to do is run the ball. I don't think that's true. I don't have the stats, but Canada's still on contract for a year. Now we bring in Glenn Thomas, and besides the things that the Roonies have said about, Art Rooney said about, like with Kenny Pickett and with Canada, and with, with the media also, they're talking about how they want not, and I hate it because they're almost making Kenny look soft, because he's not soft. That guy does not seem soft, but it seems like there's definitely they want it to work. I'm proud of the Steelers for what they're trying to do. I wasn't necessarily on the board with keeping Canada for another year, but they know more than I do, and they're on the inside, obviously. But the sophomore year of quarterback is where many take big leaps or slumps, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have addressed the issue. As far as, like, Mike Sullivan as quarterback coach, if they did not like Canada, he would have, like the Steeler way, he would have been the offense coordinator, kind of basically. That's if you went with history. I'm not saying that's the way it is, but they didn't want him. I think Mike Sullivan's probably doing a good job. with his quarterback room. But I believe the Steelers have gone out, and Glenn Thomas is a pretty interesting guy. Way more interesting. His history, it doesn't necessarily like mimic Canada's, but whereas in Canada went ba-boom, 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 to different places, Thomas has also done similar. And but the thing about it is, really good things have happened when he's around. I don't know why I always go back to this thought of, maybe it's because it's fresh from yesterday. My idea was that maybe the Steelers are going to bring in a center, because maybe the Steelers are placing all this interior lineman emphasis on the opportunity to school up a center. I don't know. I came across that because it's been months now of listening and enjoying the talk about what great an opportunity a draft pick or two of ours next year would have to grow up in such a great environment. Patrick P. and Minka. So the development of the quarterback, I don't know why I went to there. I'm just saying that they are definitely addressing the connection between raising a quarterback correctly. And one of the things that I'll read here, because I have to read some of the stuff that I have today, is one of the quotes, it was Herm Edwards said about Thomas, talking about what he does for quarterback mechanics, which I thought was very interesting. He is 45. His wife's name is like that joke, Felicia. He has 2 boys. Now, forgive me, I do need to read these things off because this is the first time I've done this about, really a new player. I've been wanting to talk about the new things that we've had come through in free agency, and I want to spend time, because I'm so long damn winded, that I wanted to take one show on each one, and it just hasn't been there for me yet. But this is something that I have been looking forward to, another set of eyes. I will also agree with Tomlin that he believes a small coaching staff has its benefits. But this is something, it's like maybe, I want it to be the last number of a combination. Okay? And like I said, he's 45. So here we go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read off a timeline of his career, and then I'm gonna kind of go back with each one of the pit stops that he's made and kind of describe to you why I'm excited about the things that happened while he was there. Okay. He graduated in 1998 in exercise and sports science out of Texas Tech. From 1998 till 2000, he was a student assistant. I'll read the one and then I'll go to my notes on the deal. At Texas Tech, he was a student assistant. I believe he was the wide receivers. I think he was in charge of wide receivers. He transferred to Midwestern State and he was hired. And he worked there from 2001 to 2007. He first from '01 to '03, he was graduate. That's where he was. In Midwestern, he was graduate assistant. 2004, he was the passing game coordinator. Now, I bet Steeler fans would be a hell of a lot happier if we were to give him that title this year. But we already know, like, Steelers change up people's job titles, so. But I bet they'd be like, woohoo, or they'd give him more credit. But 2004, he was promoted to the passing game coordinator and quarterback coach. And in from 2005 to 2007, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. These are some of the notes that I have about his time with the Midwestern State. It's a Division II school. It is in it's called the Lone Star Division, and that encompasses New Mexico, all of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So, from 2001 to 2003, that's when I was talking about. He was a graduate assistant, and he was coaching wide receivers for the team. This is what I think is really neat about this guy, and I don't have a college education. I admire people that are able to go to school. I really admire when I hear about, like, when you'll hear about, say, a player. He goes and plays his NFL career or whatever, and then goes back and gets his master's, or goes back. I think, like, something like that with Bettis happened. He went out early and then went back and received his degree from Notre Dame. But he went to Midwestern State, and like I said, in 2001. In 2004, he received his master's degree in education. I mean, I just think that's pretty cool. I mean, he graduated in '98 and from Texas Tech, and then he ends up going over to Midwestern. As he's coaching, he's still going to school as a student himself, and I think that's noble. I think that's really neat. Besides his coaching capabilities as a man or as a person, basically, I think that's pretty cool. But the thing that also happened in 2004, he helped guide the Mustangs to the first NCAA playoff appearance in the entire school's history. This is the things that I'm talking about. Good things happen around this guy. In 2004, Midwestern Mustangs, won the North Division Championship. He was promoted in 2005 to be the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He turned the offense into a powerhouse in 2007. His offense led the entire NCAA Division II in total offense. Get this number. He led in total offense. He's now his first offensive coordinator job. 550 yards per game average. He led all of NCAA Division II in rushing yards. 317. 317, that's our average of what he did with this program his first year after working with them for 3 years, his fourth year being promoted. On that fourth year, this is what he did for them. Also during this time, this is kind of like a side note, but during this time he spent some time with the Baltimore Ravens, working with quarterbacks, wide receivers, and I'm not sure where to the connection. I read the man's name, but I didn't think he was worthy of writing down. But this is where he networked, basically, or he found a friend. And that's how he ended up getting hired by the Atlanta Falcons the next year. Break it down from 2008 till 2011. He was an offensive assistant. I guess Maybe that's what, it's similar. It is literally what I just said earlier. 2012 to 2014, he was the quarterbacks coach. This is what I wrote. I said, during his time, Atlanta Falcons offense was the most productive in franchise history. In 3 years that he worked with Matt Ryan, his play quality rose significantly at a new level each season. During those 3 years working with Ryan, he threw for more than 1,500 yards and 26 touchdowns in each season. While he was under Thomas, Ryan was was nominated to the Pro Bowl in 2013. He left after he did 2014, and then Ryan was also, possibly because of things learned through Thomas, he also became a Pro Bowler in 2015. In 2012, under Thomas, Ryan made career and franchise history with season high in passing 4,719 yards with 32 touchdown passes and completions at 68.6. During his time while he was there, some of the players that, I don't know if you want to say schooled, but it was under his tutelage, definitely. The tight end, arguably the greatest tight end of all time, Tony Gonzalez. Wide receiver, Julio Jones. Quarterback, Luke McCown. Running back, Michael Turner. And wide receiver, Roddy White. In 2015, he went to Temple. He was going to stay there for 2 years. The first year, his title was quarterbacks coach. And in 1 year, he was promoted to the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of Temple University. 2015, in his first year, he strengthened quarterback P.J. Walker's game, helping him achieve his third 2,000-yard season. More impressive, he guided Walker to break Temple's record with 52 touchdown passes. I don't know if you're going to see a trend in this podcast, but there's a lot of things about like franchise history and records, and it just seems to be going around him a lot. In the 2 years of working with P.J. Walker, he became the team's all-time leader in pass attempts. All-time leader. With pass attempts at 1,410. Completions. These are in 2 years. So, if you want to take an average, cut it in half. Completions. 803. Passing yards. 10,273. So what do you want? 5,000 a year? Touchdown passes. 72. Total offense. 11,100 yards in 2 years. That's what happened when he was the offensive coordinator for Temple. He went on to Baylor University. He was there from 2017, 18, and 19, where he was the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. In his first season of Baylor in 2017, he mentored Charlie Brewer to Big 12 co-freshman Offensive Player of the Year. That it was the second time that had ever been awarded to a Baylor player in the entire history of Baylor, a very old school. I mean, it's just, In 2018, the next year, Baylor ranked 19th in the nation with an average of 290 yards per game. After his time in Baylor, he went on to University of Nevada, Las Vegas, the Running Rebels. At UNLV, offensive coordinator and quarterback coach over the 2 seasons, helped Charles Williams break career rushing record of 4,201 yards. Of the freshman quarterbacks, there was they had two freshman quarterbacks, but this one, I guess, was the one that, he was working with her. One of the freshman quarterbacks, Cameron Friel, was named Mountain West Freshman of the Year. This was the second time in a row the Running Rebels won this award, because the year before that, Thomas worked with wide receiver Kyle Williams, and he won the freshman award in 2020. Sorry, folks. This is the shortest one, but I think it's kind of a neat. This is the part I like. Last year, he was working for Arizona State under Herm Edwards as the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. I don't have much information or what, they didn't seem like anything outlandishly or wonderful, anything like that had happened. Maybe they're in a different, I don't know anything about Sun Devil football, but I couldn't find anything as far as, maybe they were in a transition or a lull or something or high. It wasn't, there was just nothing really about him. But I did find this quote that Herm Edwards, who was the coach, he said, "He is known in football circles for his expertise in quarterback play and quarterback mechanics, getting them to play at their optimum levels." So, Steeler fans, I'm excited. I really, just like everything else, I'm hoping for that puzzle piece. I know we are going to be more than competitive this year, and you've got to be just as excited. Well, maybe not just as excited, but maybe you're more. Man, what a beautiful day! Things are coming to fruition. It's just our team is really looking great. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope if you have any questions or things like that, please throw down comments, or if you have any thoughts about it, maybe you heard some, throw them in the comments section. I'd always appreciate that. If you like what you hear, press the like button. If you want to hear more of it, press the subscribe button. And thank you again for joining me, and you guys have a wonderful day.